Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar on AppsAccelerate for Sports Analytics. Just a couple of housekeeping items specifically for this webinar. If you have any questions, please add them in the chat and we will follow up on them on the Q&A portion of this webinar. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the presenters, Miles.
Okay, great. Thank you, Zena. My name is Miles Gilson, and Vice President of Data and AI here at AppsAssociates. I'll be co-presenting today with Chris Hill from Oracle. Chris, do you want to say hello?
Hey, good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us today.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll get started. We've done the introductions. I'll do a brief overview of AppsAssociates. We'll then get into a little bit of why we're here today. We'll talk about the Oracle Cloud. We'll talk about this exciting solution that's been developed on the Oracle Cloud and give you a live demo, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. So quick overview of AppsAssociates. So we've been in business for about 23 years, been an Oracle partner from day one, over 500 implementations, 12,050 certifications, very, very deep in the Oracle ecosystem across really everything, the Fusion applications, all of the data and analytics. I myself have been working for 20 years in data and analytics in Oracle, and also very, very deep into everything, not only data and analytics, but AI for Oracle. And we also do managed services. So we support the applications, and we also support the Oracle infrastructure. If you look at our data analytics and AI practice, we've got about 125 people spread between India and the US. I would say we take pride in the fact that we are both very, very deep technically and have significant business domain expertise, which is critical for analytics. We know what a purchase rec is, what a journal entry is, et cetera, et cetera. Our expertise spans the full systems development lifecycle for data warehousing and analytics, from analyzing data, data modeling, to developing data pipelines and visualizations. And we are certified really across the board. Very happy to say one of the few firms to have achieved our FDI expertise, but we also have the Oracle Cloud Platform Analytics expertise. So we're very, very, very deep. And Oracle is by far our biggest partner. We also have partnerships with AWS and Microsoft. So why are we here today? So we're going to be talking about a purpose-built solution for sports analytics that we've built on the Oracle Cloud, and it's powered by Ticketmaster data. Initially, we'll talk about that as we go. Now, what does it provide? You're going to see a 360 view of the customer. You're going to get information about your fan engagement and attendance, and perhaps most importantly, intelligence on revenue. So that's really the main topic for today. But to do justice to that topic, we want to give you some insight into the underlying platforms and services in the Oracle Cloud that are powering this solution before we get to the actual solution itself. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my friend Chris Hill.
All right. Thank you, Miles. Good morning, everyone. So Chris Hill, I lead specialist sales solutions, analytics, integration, data management for Oracle in North America. And so we're going to talk to a few of the solutions that Miles and his colleagues have built into this solution and demo that you're going to see today. So first of all, the Oracle Analytics Cloud OAC is our front-end analytics solution. Very, very powerful tool. You can try it for free if you're not familiar with this solution. Really incredible. And out of the box provides enterprise-level security, trusted data through a governed semantic layer. So it's governed, trusted, and secure. And we all know how important that is, particularly with AI deployments. Very rich presentation capabilities, mobile and embedded capabilities. And out of the box, we've put a lot of investment into building out AI capabilities, both from auto insights that will identify patterns, trends, clusters, explain those for you, allows you to interface with your data in natural language, explain the outcomes and potential areas of interest, So really incredible analytics tool, and you'll see some of that in Miles' demo today. The next piece in the solution set is our lakehouse architecture, our lakehouse component, autonomous AI lakehouse. Autonomous because it's self-scaling, self-securing, self-patching, self-managing, allows you to worry about your business. We worry about the lakehouse environment and the infrastructure underneath it. An autonomous AI lakehouse is a converged data platform. That means it can handle virtually any data type you want to throw at it: structured, unstructured, document, spatial, vector, however you want to manage your business. You don't need to bring in multiple vendors. You can do it with a single converged database. Includes vector support and open lakehouse architecture, so allows you to connect across your entire data estate through Iceberg or Delta support. So very, very capable, open, flexible environment that scales with you as you scale your business, and you only pay for what you use as you use the database environment. So very capable lakehouse environment. And then the third piece in this solution set is AI Data Platform, AIDP, as we call it, which is really an integrated data platform environment for AI workload development. Gives unified data access across your entire data estate, Oracle and non-Oracle, with federated query capabilities, cataloging, so you understand the full metadata across your environment, and allows you to build out a medallion architecture, and then build and develop your AI workloads across that architecture. So very, very excited. It's our newest solution that's been released here, and we're seeing an incredible amount of customer interest and momentum in this. So AIDP, AI Data Platform, is the third piece in the Oracle solution set that Miles is going to show for you guys here today. So that's really the three pieces I wanted to cover that's relevant for us today. Back to you, Miles.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Chris. So now I'm going to get into the solution. And I will say we were an early adopter during the limited availability program for AI Data Platform. We've been using it for a while now. Very, very pleased. And we're using it, as kind of the backbone for this, at least the data engineering part. Okay, so let's get into this solution. And I will just say, in case anyone's wondering, so we're Apps Associates, we're a systems integrator, we're consulting. As I present this solution to you, we don't sell this solution. What we have done is we have built a solution on top of those Oracle platforms that Chris just talked to you about. So when we arrive at your doorstep, let's say to implement this, that you're not paying anything to us for this solution. We just implement it for you. Of course, you need to have the underlying Oracle services and capabilities, of course. Okay, so let's get into it. So there's four major aspects of this solution. First, you get deep insight into your revenue and ticket sales performance. There's a wealth of data there to understand who's showing up, who's not showing up, what is the revenue related, what's the average ticket price, what are the yields. So a lot of great information there. Second, on the right-hand side here is the sales channel. These days, you can buy tickets in many different channels: your laptop, your desktop, your phone. I don't know, do some people still call up? I guess they do. There are many ways. There's corporate, many ways to sell your tickets. So you want to understand your sales channel. And attendance and utilization is critical. You don't want the revenue leakage. If you sell a ticket, well, that's great. You've got the revenue for the ticket. But people that are not attending, that's leakage. They're not going to be buying food and drinks. They're not paying for parking. If they're season ticket holders, they may be less likely to renew. So you really want to shine a light on the attendance and the utilization. And then, of course, you want to understand seasonality and trending. We are talking about, at least in this instance, professional sports. And they all have seasons. And even within those seasons, you've got the regular season, you've got playoffs, you've got preseason. So you want to understand that. There's many, many business activities that you can do pivoting off this data: marketing, loyalty programs, promotions. There's a lot of things that you can do. All right. Now, this solution has been built with a broader 360-degree view of the fan in mind. So it does give you that 360-degree view for, in its current incarnation, for tickets via Ticketmaster data. But some of the clients that we're working with, they really want to do more than ticketing. And you'll see as I talk about how we've built this, it makes it very, very easy to bring in other information that a sports team might want to understand, like food and beverage, the merchandise, parking, loyalty, the website, mobile app, all of these aspects can be brought into this solution. It's a fully extendable solution. You're not locked into anything. It can be extended for other ticketing systems as well. Ticketmaster is obviously huge, but there are others, the SeatGeek and so on and so forth, that could also be plugged right in to give you the same view. Okay. So let's talk about this AI-ready data foundation. So obviously, it's hard not to hear about AI these days, but everyone, I think, knows that your data is what powers your AI. And we have worked with clients, and they have great ideas, but the data, before we even get to the quality of the data, it's just, where is the data? And it's in these 6 or 7 different places. It's kind of pockmarked all over the place. So that makes it very difficult to do anything on an ongoing basis. You might be able to collect that data one time, maybe do a POC, but if you want to have some kind of ongoing AI, you really have to address your data, and not just its quality and its accuracy, but where is it? Now, I'm not saying it all has to be in one data warehouse necessarily, but it certainly makes it easy, a lot easier. So we're also using, as Chris said, the autonomous AI lakehouse, and that's the autonomous database 26 AI, and there have been a whole number of AI-based capabilities that have been put into that. First of all, as Chris said, any type of data. If you want to do things more advanced, like leveraging your own personal data, maybe you have contracts, you have receipts, and you want to search those, well, you can do that right in the autonomous AI lakehouse. So, we've built it with AI in mind, and I'm going to show you a bit later. I'm going to show you natural language Q&A, and I'm going to explain that. And when we do demos, we always explain what we're doing. Never do the smoke and mirrors. Always want you to know exactly what you're seeing. Predictive analytics for OAC has its own algorithms for predictive analytics. You could do predictive analytics on autonomous AI lakehouse. So having your data in autonomous lakehouse makes it very easy to do predictive analytics. Anomaly and outlier detection is something that's inherent. It's actually native in OAC. And of course, AI agents, which are emerging as maybe one of the most powerful implementations of AI. So very open data foundation here. Now let's talk about natural language query and why this solution and the broader Oracle Analytics Cloud helps with natural language query. So first of all, natural language query is what you think it is. It is typing in a question and you get the answer. And it is, to use a phrase, one of the toughest moves in the business. And why is that? Because the large language model doesn't know anything about your data. It doesn't know the terms that you're using, region, profitability, even something as simple as sales. What do you mean by sales? It just, it doesn't know any of that. And as you all know, I assume from your personal experience, AI, large language models, the fact that they don't know something will not stop them, and they will confidently respond. We should be as confident as they are when we don't know what we're talking about. No, I'm just kidding. But it's really impressive how those AIs will just answer the question. And when it comes to natural language query, you need the right answer. And it's not going to tell you, I don't really know that answer. So what does that mean? It means you have to give the large language model some context. You have to kind of coach it. Hey, when you hear this term, this is what I want you to do. So there's a little bit of coaching involved. And I'm describing this because frankly, I think it's important to be upfront with the audience that natural language query does take a little bit of preparation work. And Oracle Analytics Cloud makes it very, very simple. And behind your preparation work, a little bit of, think of them as hints. You're going to give the large language model hints. The semantic model of OAC is tremendously helpful in giving that context to the large language model. A semantic model is a definitional layer that sits on top of your underlying database tables. And it's all about how the tables should be joined together and how your metrics are calculated. So all that good information is in the semantic model. And now that semantic model is finding a whole new wonderful life because it's so useful in getting your questions answered. Because when you put that semantic model in front of your question, the large language model gets the benefit of all that rich explanatory information that's in the semantic model. So that's why we like the Oracle Analytics AI Assistant. So you'll see, I'll ask a question. The AI assistant will interpret it. We've already put the synonyms in to add the business context. It goes to the large language model that ultimately goes to the database and returns the answer. So very excited about this capability. Now let's talk about the technical architecture for those that are maybe a little bit more inclined to what the underlying technical architecture is. We are using, as Chris noted, we're using AI data platform, an AI lakehouse. Our source is Ticketmaster. We are leveraging a medallion architecture, which has become very popular, almost a bit of a standard in data warehouses and data lakehouses. And that architecture means that you ingest raw data into a so-called bronze layer. So the Ticketmaster, the raw Ticketmaster data comes in. The silver data is where we cleanse it, maybe do some joins. And then in the gold layer is the star schema. May not be a meaningful term, but what that means is the data architecturally has been optimized for analytics. It really makes it easier for people to engage with that data. And then finally in OAC, we have the semantic model and the reports and the dashboards and the AI capability with the semantic model, which I just explained, very important. So I have told you that we can extend this beyond Ticketmaster. So, well, how would you do that? And the great news here is that this gold layer, this final architected destination, is agnostic to the source system. It's set up for any system that really is about selling tickets. You've got a person, a seat, you have all the other attributes. It doesn't really matter what the source system is. So we would bring that source system in, we might do a little bit of transformation, and then we would load it into this gold layer. And if you were a company with multiple different ticketing systems, they all could land in this one place, and you could analyze revenue across multiple different ticketing systems without really caring, unless you cared, but you don't have to care whether it was Ticketmaster or SeatGeek or one of these others. So that's the technical architecture. AI data platform is where we do the data engineering. We used to call it ETL, now we call it data engineering, but that's where we do the data engineering. So we act upon this data right there in AI data platform. The gold layer, as we call it, is in autonomous AI lakehouse, tremendously performant system, and so that's why we're using that. Okay. All right. So let's now jump into a live demo. Okay. So I'm going to jump over. All right. So now we are in Oracle Analytics Cloud, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to interact, and all of this data that you're going to see is in autonomous AI lakehouse. This is a live demo. When we click or something happens, we're interacting with that underlying database. So first thing that we have in this solution is a summary of the KPIs. And you may have had the experience where you're looking at a screen, maybe you're looking at a dashboard, and you're not really sure what the definition is, and it's tucked away somewhere. It's not readily available to you. So we've started off with a summary of the metrics to make it helpful. Okay. I'm going to go into our first dashboard. Now, first I want to give you the context. So up top here, we have the filters. The first thing, as you might expect, is the time dimension. So we're going to be looking at 2025. These are sports teams, so you have seasons. I'm going to pick a particular stadium. So I'm going to pick State Farm Stadium. And you could, if you wanted to, you could look at specific events. So this is used, we've got this targeted toward sports analytics. Some teams have more than one arena. So if you wanted to focus in on one arena, or you wanted to focus in team is a dimension. If you wanted to put team up here in your filters, you could do that. So if you were like a sports federation and you wanted to look at different teams, you could do that. So we start off with what are called performance tiles. And this dashboard, this sales dashboard, is really focusing on what was sold and what's the revenue related to what we've sold. So if you look at, you start off with stadium capacity, how many seats did we sell, how many seats are still available for sale, and how many seats were held for corporate sponsorships or what have you. So if you add those three together, you'll get the full capacity. Then we've got some percentages around seats sold and fill rates and cancellation rates. Then we get into some of the good analytics and some of the metrics. And I'll show you some of the capabilities. So this is a monthly trend of revenue versus seats sold. Some of the capabilities, we could easily sort this if I wanted to really see high to low revenue. And up here is very handy. So, okay, that's great. I've now seen that. I want to go back. If you click up here, you always go back. So we've got total seats versus number of seats sold. Average revenue per seat sold by month. Now, this is a great example of being able to create metrics. And you can do that in a number of different places, because the raw data in and of itself is helpful, but it's not really that helpful without putting together your metrics. Average revenue per seat sold is an important metric. And there are other metrics. There's average revenue, per stadium seat. So that's just based on the stadium seat. This is the seats sold. So we do these either in the semantic model, or you can just create calculations right here in what we call a workbook. Very, very helpful. Then we have top 10 ticket categories by revenue by sales channel. I mentioned that. I'll show you another capability. So I'm going to drill now. So I've got revenue by sales channel online, and I'm going to drill into the city of the customer. And there was no setup for this. This is simply a function of our data model. So this comes right out of the box. So we're going to take a look at the different cities. And a lot of different cities are doing online. Now I'm going to jump over to this is called a heat map. And this is showing the top 10 events by average revenue per seat sold. And I want to point out, when you put your cursor on here, not only do you get the information, you get some other information that is helpful, contextual information, and that's easy to do as you set things up. So if you do revenue by number of seats sold, you can see that is a helpful metric in addition to the average revenue. That's called a tooltip, and that's easy to set up. Okay, now we're going to go over to audience insights. And this is where, now we just talked about, okay, what did we sell? Now we're going to be talking about the seats that were sold and attendees and no-show. And as I said, that's really important. No-shows represent revenue leakage, and it's just not helpful. So you can see we've got the 10 states by seats sold. This is a nice chart where you can easily see how we're doing on no-show. So at least for this data set, the no-show is in brown, and you can see that it's fairly consistent month by month. This is for a particular team. By the way, this is test data. We're not allowed to use real, NFL or NHL, or we're not allowed to use real pro sports data. So it is test data of made up data. Now this is another piece of analytics that we think is very helpful. Revenue per seat versus capacity utilization. If we look at this, I suppose it makes sense that as your utilization of the capacity in the stadium goes up, so does the average revenue per seat. And it kind of makes sense because, there's more excitement. It's interesting that's preseason here. And then booking lead time by ticket type and the average revenue per seat sold. So this is another interesting feature where you can combine two metrics. So you've got two metrics, and you're able to distinguish that through colorization. So this is very different than just having a report. Now I'm going to go to the revenue trend, and then I'll get to the natural language query. So here we're really focusing on revenue. So we're looking at revenue for the full year. So this is 2025 for this particular stadium, 104 million for this stadium for this year. Average revenue per seat sold, ticket revenue per stadium seat. So those are two different metrics. One is the stadium seat, whether it was sold or not. One is the revenue per seat sold, and the year-over-year revenue growth. And if you had a metric that you don't see here, and by the way, we're not showing all the metrics. These are just those that we chose to put on the dashboard. There are other metrics. Those can easily be added. As I said, it's fully extensible. Now we get into some more what you might call financial analytics, where we're looking at month over month and a little bit of year over year. So last year, same month, and leveraging some of the capabilities. So there's an extensive array. It would take literally multiple days to go through all the capabilities of Oracle Analytics Cloud. And I'm not exaggerating at all in terms of how to present information. We're showing some conditional formatting here right in this chart. But I've been working with Oracle Analytics Cloud for, I don't know, the past 7, 8, 9 years. And there's just a nonstop conveyor belt of enhancements. You should check out the YouTube channel. They kind of just keep coming. So this was a waterfall chart. The core finance people might say, well, that's an interesting use of the waterfall chart, but it works here. So the larger the green box, the more revenue in that particular month. And then finally, the revenue trend. And the interesting part of this revenue trend is the forecast over here. So we've built this in as a metric. You could also generate a forecast by just doing a single click using the advanced analytics capability. But in this case, we built it in as a calculation, and we're referencing a formula for doing a forecast. I think it's the ARIMA method. And we've done the same thing with an upper and lower bound for the forecast. So really rich set of analytics here. Okay, now I'm going to go over to the AI assistant. And so you see what I've done here. So I've just clicked here, and that's opened up the AI assistant. And this assistant, the scope of this assistant, pardon me, is this workbook. So I could ask a question. I don't have to limit it to just one of these tabs. This workbook, and that's the term that Oracle uses, this workbook, I can ask any question really about this workbook. So let me get started. I'm just going to ask a few questions and show you. So I'm going to say, show me revenue by sales channel. Okay. Now what it's doing is it is interacting with the semantic model. As I said, it's passing that context to the LLM, and it has now returned. And I could change the chart type. I could add things to it if I wanted. I'll just do a couple more questions here. I'm going to say, show me revenue by month for 2025. And my next question will not use the show me phraseology. That's not like something you have to do. It is a large language model. So you can see here, it's going to choose the chart type. I could change the chart type to whatever I wanted. All right, now let's drop down a little bit. Let's ask a bit of a different question. So I'm going to say, what was the cancellation rate, for customers from Nebraska for 2024 and 2025? Please show separately. Okay, so let's get a little bit of information around customers. We did some high level stuff And now we want to drill down and be, a little bit more specific. All right, so let's see what we get here. So cancellation rate for our Nebraska fans, 11% in 2024, 9% in 2025. So we're doing something right in Nebraska. That's great. All right, so we're going to do 2 more questions, and then we're gonna wrap up on the demo. So I'm going to say, show me the top 5 customers by revenue for 2025. So let's see, this is a stadium. Let's see which fan is actually giving us for an entire year. It's giving us the most revenue. And that would be exciting. Okay, so I've got, looks like I've got a customer account here, 101247. So let's find out who that is. So I'm going to say for customer account, you don't have to spell it. You know how it is with these things. You don't have to spell it exactly right, but I will. Show first name, last name, and email address. So whoever this is, maybe we send them a little gift. Maybe we give them a promotion. They've certainly achieved something by being the customer that gave us most revenue. Okay, so this is Amy Jones, and there's her email. So that is the natural language query capability. As you can see, there isn't any smoke and mirrors here. What did we do to achieve this? And I want to be upfront about this because I have seen demos where I'm pretty sure that I may not have that exact same experience if I tried. What we have done here, we go into the semantic model, we put some synonyms in, and when I mean a synonym, we'll say like, okay, revenue, a synonym for revenue is sales, and we'll just kind of give it some hints. We'll hit enter, and that's basically all we had to do in order to get this to work. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do, everything I've shown you has been in what we call presentation mode, and sometimes people like to see, all right, what would it take to build a report? So I'm going to go into edit mode. On edit mode here. And we're going to get behind the scenes a little bit here. Okay, so now we're in edit mode. And this is the kind of mode that somebody would have, if they had the security clearance. So working from left to right, these are subject areas. So here's our Ticketmaster subject area. And you can see all the folders and all of the data elements within the folder. So customer, event, and then we get into ticket, everything with a pound symbol, that's a numeric value. And then these are calculations. These are calculations that we put together. So here's forecast revenue. You remember forecast revenue? So if I look at that, pretty simple calculation there. We're going to use this forecast word. We use some number of periods. The model type is ARIMA, the prediction interval, etc. So there's like I say, there's an amazing array of things that you could do in Oracle Analytics Cloud. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a very simple report. So what I did is I clicked on Canvas. I have a new canvas here. I'm going to take revenue. And I'm just going to drag and drop it over there. I'm going to take, I want year. So I'm going to create that year. And I want 2025. So I'll just select 2025. I only want 2025. You can see that 104. And, I could really pick anything. I'm going to pick revenue by event type. So I'm just going to drag that over there. And so it decided what it wanted to do. Maybe I'll just do a quick sort, high to low. So, very, very simple dashboard, but tremendously powerful as you get to learn how to interact with this data. Very, very powerful. I use it. If I have to understand some data, I will go right to OAC and just start dragging and dropping because it's going to very quickly tease out any anomalies in a data set. Okay, so that is the demonstration of AppsAccelerate for Sports Analytics. I'm going to jump back. So, what would we like for you to take away from this? Well, first, and you might already know this, but your ticketing data is a strategic asset. There's plenty of insights that can be mined there, but it can be difficult. Sport teams are not necessarily totally focused on analytics, so you want something that you can get up and running quickly. That's really the next point here. So what does it take to implement this? Because of its pre-built nature, as long as you have those Oracle platforms, OAC, AIDP, and the Lakehouse, we can get you up and running in weeks. The Oracle Cloud, I don't know the level of familiarity, but very, very significant set of capabilities there. And the AI readiness and the AI foundation is tremendously important these days because you know how it is. A year from now, it's going to be a different world, than it was a year ago. That seems to be the way AI is working. And the other thing is the extensibility and the fact of having this platform, this foundation, this data foundation, where you can just plug in your other data sources, your merchandise, your food and beverage. Um, and one of the things that we find very helpful as we work with some of our clients on this, because you have multiple data sources and you have the same customer buying merchandise through point of sale, they're part of your loyalty program, they bought a ticket through Ticketmaster, you have that customer coming in multiple different data sources. And one of the things that we have done for several of our clients is use that data to really identify unique customers, like sift through all those data sources and understand, okay, this is a single customer, even though they have subtly different information coming from these data sources, they're actually the same customer. And that's very, very valuable because then you can interact with that customer in a more comprehensive and holistic way. And you also just have better metrics around your customer base. Okay, great. So we feel like there's a lot of value in this. Let's open it up to Q&A.
I do have a question. I know you mentioned the solution can be extended for other data sources. How does that work?
Okay, great. Yeah, that's something I mentioned. So the solution that we've built in its final stage there, it's really agnostic to data source. So what we've done is we just plug in those other data sources. So a little bit of work maybe to connect to that data source, get the data in. But once we get it into that final, if you remember that final star schema stage, then all of those reports that we've already built, all of those metrics, they work automatically. And that final stage is source system agnostic. So once we get the data in there, boom, you automatically get the benefit of all the metrics and the reports and the dashboards. That's a good question.
Thank you. Also, if we want to add new metrics and KPIs, how do we do that?
Okay, another good question. Well, there's two areas that you could do that. One is you can just add it into the report. You remember when I was in that workbook and I was dragging and dropping and I showed my calculations? If you have a metric that you think you need, and maybe it's just for that workbook, then we would suggest that you add it in that workbook using the custom calculation area. Um, if it's a metric that you think is going to be around for a long time and the rest of the organization might be using it, then we would suggest putting that metric in what's called the semantic model, that definitional layer that guides the queries. That's a good question. Yeah.
Hey, Miles, I know there's lots of variables around this, but maybe you could talk to a typical implementation timeframe cycle to get this up and running. And I'm sure it depends hugely on the complexity of the data, but how does that work?
Sure. And as we said, Chris, it's weeks, not months. So I'll take the
Yeah.
scenario where, somebody has Ticketmaster data. So, what we will do is we will show up with our pre-built solution. The very first thing we're going to do is load your Ticketmaster data into the autonomous AI Lakehouse, populate it, and present those dashboards back to you. Now, the presentation of the dashboards back to you with your data, that's probably a week 2. That's about week 2. If we overachieve and it's all nice and clean, it's week 1. But that's week 2. But I want to be upfront here. That doesn't mean you're in production. That doesn't mean your users have validated the data. It doesn't mean that every metric that you need is there. And we don't claim that this solution has every single metric you'll need. So the next thing that we typically do is, now that we've got your data and your people are looking at your data in dashboards, which is a huge benefit from the old days where you're trying to sketch it out on a whiteboard. Then we go through a process of working with the end users. If any of the metrics, well, I'm not sure that, we'll look into the calculation. If they want to add some new metrics, we'll add some new metrics. So that's another couple of weeks for the people to get familiar with the data. We'll also do a little bit of training. I would call it navigational training. If there's some super users, we'll show them how to create custom reports. Typically, that's a small bit of super users. We'll show them how to do what I did. So we go through that data validation and get people comfortable with the data. You might call that like a user acceptance testing phase. And then we'll go into production. And it's very important to go through that process and to go to production. We have worked with clients that stood up something. It was in development. They didn't really get anybody involved to validate the data. And then it didn't get used. And that's unfortunate. So we're looking, you take a couple, you get your data, you validate your data. We're in the 5, 6, 7 week range. And you've got a production system.
Pretty incredible, though. Something that used to historically take many months, right? 4 to 6 months. You're now doing in a matter of weeks. So pretty amazing.
That's a whole different world, including the AI. That we would teach you how to use the AI. Of course, we already have those synonyms in there. You don't have to do that. You would get the natural language query out of the box. But if you have other metrics, or if you wanted to somehow extend it beyond what we've done, we would help the customer through the AI part as well. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, very different times these days.
I have another question. Does Apps Associates handle licensing of the Oracle Cloud software, or do we go through Oracle for that?
Well, short answer is no, but I'll let Chris handle that. The Oracle, Chris, AIDP, OAC, if they wanted to engage, that would be through Oracle, right?
Yeah, they engage through Oracle. Contract, what we call a UCC, Universal Cloud Credit contract. And then you can use any cloud service within Oracle portfolio against that contract. So you use whatever needs for your business. In this case, it would be AIDP or AI Lakehouse or OAC. But yeah, you would work directly with myself and Oracle to get that done. There's also an alternative contract called Paygo, where we set you up with a $0 contract and you just use it as you go. So a couple of different mechanisms, very, very flexible, easy to do.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, I do have one more. How long would it take to implement the solution, and what level of training would be needed?
Okay, good. So the how long, so we just answered that. You're probably in the 5 to 7 week range to get all the way to production. And that's a very important point. For training, anyone who just saw me do that, for the vast majority of users, the training can be done through a couple of sessions where we show the navigation. Using Oracle Analytics Cloud, like how to use it, very simple. There's actually more training typically required to explain the metrics, and that's not really a function of Oracle. That's really about the customer's data and their metrics. So the Oracle training, how do I use Oracle Analytics Cloud? We will do enough to get people up and running. We'll show them how to access it, how to save to their personal folder, how to use all the filters and the prompts. Then for the super users, That's a little bit more involved, but those people typically have a little bit of experience with reporting platforms anyway. So for those people, we show them how to create custom reports. We'll show them a little bit of the semantic model. I don't want to say it's not extensive training. We do have a training group at Apps Associates that can go really super deep. But we do enough training where we want to make that customer self-sufficient after they're up and running.
Hey, Miles, I will just add as well, just something I've seen with customers is the natural language query capability. So you're really just having a conversation with the data based upon your business language. So the training needed to understand the data, I mean, of course you can go as deep as you want, but for the average executive, really understanding the business questions they want to ask, but not needing to understand the data needed to build the query, really massively reduces the amount of training required. So it becomes a much slicker, faster, less friction process to roll this out to users, because you're really talking around the language they want to speak, which is what was my P&L, or what's my ticket distribution, or where's my revenue coming from. So I think it's a huge plus with these type of natural language query solutions.
Yeah, absolutely great. Excellent. Any more questions? Okay. Unless there's any more questions, we will wrap up for the day and thank everyone for their attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Interested in learning more about Apps Associates and how we can help you modernize and streamline your healthcare organization? Contact us today.